I'm interested in the idea that the NHL, in their continued attempts to grow the game internationally, are going to Sweden, this time sending 4 teams instead of the 2 that they... Now, sometimes they'll send 4 teams overseas, but never to the same city. This time they're sending Minnesota, Detroit, Toronto, and Ottawa. The first thing I noticed was each of those teams is playing 2 games there. Toronto is not playing Ottawa.
Right.
We'll protect our pocketbook a little bit, right? People will buy that back here. We're not giving that away in Sweden. But, an interesting 4 teams to select. Minnesota sort of stands out. You're sending 3 teams from one division and then one that nobody really cares about.
Yeah.
I guess Jonas
Why wouldn't you
Brodin's
say
family
Buffalo?
will be there, I guess. Yeah, Buffalo would have been great. That's a good point, man. It's interesting to me that they've decided, this will be 4 games that end up getting played over there?
Well, 2 for Ottawa, 2 for all of them, so 8 games.
8 games, I guess, yeah.
Wait, that doesn't work. That math is not working because 2 teams are in each one of those games. So
yeah, and they're not all playing each other. Like, Toronto's going to play Minnesota and Detroit, as is Ottawa.
6 games, 4 games, 6 games. I don't know, man.
Do you think this does more for hockey? Like, Sweden already likes
they love
hockey, and sending 4 teams over there as opposed to 2, this was weird to me a little bit, man. Like, you could have also gone 2 to Stockholm, 2 to Helsinki.
How about to Munich?
Sure.
Right? Send Edmonton and Ottawa and whatever else. If you want to spread.
Interesting 2 teams you chose.
Yes. But you have sent...
Dreisaitl versus Stützle.
Yeah, but just in terms of, can you, Paterka? There's it again. We'll throw another Buffalo
Paterka.
Reference in there if you want. They're everywhere. They're
Marco
Mr. International.
Sturm still kicking around.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Joachim Hash.
Yeah, Christian Ehrhoff.
Yeah, like where are we going here?
Marcel Gottsch.
And I'm trying to think of the big German defenseman that played here that sometimes Schubert.
Christoph
Schubert.
Bring Oli Kolzig out of the...
Yeah. Oh, a South African born.
I know, but somehow playing for...
Yeah, it's whatever.
Does this do anything for... Like, Ottawa's done this. Toronto doesn't do this because Toronto makes money at home. And I'm not saying other teams don't, but you leave the Golden Goose at home to keep raking in its millions of dollars on every home date. You don't send them overseas because you don't really charge the same prices over... Like, somebody had to pay for this, right? As did every team, got paid for giving up a home date. Toronto's not one that normally goes.
Well, and again, I'm with you 100%. When you look at the top 5/6 hockey nations, right? U.S., Canada, Finland, Sweden, Russia, and then Czech Republic. I don't know, wherever you want to go with that.
Yeah.
If you want to grow the game, go back. Now, they just were in Switzerland this year. Mm-hmm. I think the Preds and the Sharks were there.
That's right, yeah.
Go to a place like Germany, Schubert, Stützle, and Dreisaitl aside, right? That is a large...
But those are the teams you'd send. Like, send your 2 biggest German stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, you want to grow it in another market, which has a large population and has a large...
Has money.
Exactly.
Has money.
The economy over there is what it is. And it's got a hard driving economic engine. So why you've missed out on the opportunity instead of going back to something you've done on multiple occasions. Ottawa's been there twice already.
Yeah.
Why would you not go to...
And they didn't love it the last time.
Well, they haven't loved it either time they've went over.
Universally recognized as the unraveling of the post-2017 Sens was that trip to...
Yeah, but they were there in 08 as well, and it turned for shit like the Paddock team.
Cool, can't wait.
Hey, the Paddock team that started out with almost a NHL record start, like 16-2, and then by the All-Star game, Paddock was coaching in the All-Star game and was fired. I think that's the beginning of either the Craig Hartsburg or the Corey Clouston years.
Either way.
Right, yeah, for sure. And just all of them unraveling after these trips to Sweden. And we all know the past 2 or 3 Novembers have been awesome for Ottawa. So how about we go over this year, 6 time zones, and we trot that bad boy out and see how it goes.
Colorado, by all accounts, they didn't outwardly complain, but Friedman reported earlier in the year, a couple of different places in the podcast and in his 32 Thoughts blog, that they reported back to the league, like Colorado kind of struggled this year, right? They didn't look like they had for the last couple of years. And they had said to the league, like, this was really hard on our guys. And I can't remember if they were one of the teams, maybe not Switzerland, but there was a couple, like, remember those games in Czech Republic this year as well.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember Dominic Hasek was coming out saying, don't bring your Russians here. Like,
yeah, sorry, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying okay. I don't remember that.
I don't remember which city Colorado went to, but apparently, like, they quietly said to the league, you need to take note of, you know, either how long of a break you're giving people, how many time zones you're asking them to hop. Like, this hurt us. And they made it in anyway, and they're life and death to survive against Seattle. I guess we can talk about that in a bit, but it is interesting. Like, I maybe you're better off doing this a week before the regular season starts. Like, we've seen that where you open the season over there and then have a good long break as opposed to doing it mid-season. Would that change it at all for you?
It would. I'm still not loving it.
Yeah.
But it is the preferred to start over there. And so, you start camp a little earlier.
Yeah.
You head over, and then you come back and you work your way in, as opposed to heading over after you've already played 15 games and you've got into the rhythm, and then now you're... Now, I heard good friends of the show, AJ Jakubek and Lieber Sage, both were discussing. They're like, overblown. Like, you fly 5 hours to Los Angeles.
LA,
yeah, that's 3 hours. That's a 3-hour time change.
Yep.
Right? You are flying more than 5 hours to get to...
6 or 7 hour time change.
It's a 6-hour time change. Yeah. So you're doubling the time change, and while you're not doubling the flying time, you certainly are extending it.
Right.
And so to me, I found it a bit flippant to just go, 5 hours to LA, 6-hour time change to Stockholm. It's good. And you're like, nah, you're doubling the time change.
Yeah.
And you are talking about a sort of a day per hour time change is what they suggest is ideal to harmonize your body with.
And like, this is why I give Colorado the benefit of the doubt here. They didn't do this in the media, right? Like, they quietly said, this is hard. And so they did, like, maybe it was an excuse. Like, maybe they just weren't playing well. They did have a bunch of injuries this year. But maybe it's worth hearing them out when a team comes back, doesn't make a big show of it, but says, yo, this was... And they're 2 hours further, right? Like, out in the mountain time zone as well. So, I don't know.
They'd be an 8-hour
time
change.
So, Toronto, Detroit, Minnesota, and
also
Ottawa.
In the Central.
Going. Yeah. It's interesting to me that, like I said, it's an odd group of teams to send. Maybe you just pick another Atlantic Division team. But I don't know. Like, to me, this does nothing for me as a fan. Like, I'll watch the games. I always watch the games. But there's nothing exciting to me. But it's not for me, right?
Who are the biggest Swedish stars in the league, would you say, right now?
Yeah, Dahlin, you made a good point. Hedman.
Yep. But two good ones right there.
Carlson had a 100-point year.
Well, that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
But
in terms of biggest stars.
Yeah, and that's what, and again, so it's not about Markstrom, like, just in terms of, you have Gustafsson, who had a great year once he left Ottawa.
Landeskog.
Yeah, a little long in the tooth.
Yeah. As is Carlson, but big names.
Yep, for sure. But I'm just saying, it seems to be like we're at a bit of a lull. I think Raymond in Detroit is a star on the come.
Yep.
Elias Pettersson maybe is another guy who I would look at, but I think you've touched on it, right? That I'm not sure that
William Nylander.
There you go.
Calgary zone.
Wee Willie. So I think in a time where the last time Ottawa was there, it was Colorado and it was Ottawa, and so you had Landeskog and you had Alfredsson went over. He wasn't that long retired, right? You sort of had these.
Still had Carlson.
Very familiar faces. Good point on yours. And so you had these names and faces that Swedes would gravitate towards. I just think beyond the fact that I don't want my team doing it 2 months in, I think you've missed the boat on the location.